The key to a healthy metabolism starts here, in the
Two
gut.
men,
This
both
complex
52,
system
both
influences
eating the same
everything from
lunch.
energy to
Chicken,
immunity.
rice, roasted vegetables. 45 minutes later, one of them has blood sugar already back to baseline. The other is still riding a glucose spike so high, his body won't start burning fat for another 3 hours. Same meal, completely different metabolic outcome. The difference isn't what they ate, it's what one of them drank before the first bite. That pre-meal drink isn't some exotic supplement. It's not a $90 greens powder with a name you can't pronounce. It's something you probably already have in your kitchen and have been completely ignoring because nobody told you to use it strategically. And the evidence behind this is not small. A 2023 study in Nutrients found that a specific pre-meal drinking protocol reduced post-meal blood glucose by up to 36% compared to controls. Other trials using slightly modified versions of the same approach have hit 40%. That is not a rounding error. That is the difference between your pancreas operating like a well-managed logistics company and your pancreas filing a formal noise complaint against your entire lifestyle. If you're over 40 and skipping this, your blood sugar is spiking higher after every single meal than it has to. And those spikes, even if you're not diabetic, even if your fasting glucose looks perfectly clean on your last blood work, are quietly accelerating vascular aging, compounding inflammation, and slowly training your cells to tune out insulin. I'm not here to diagnose or prescribe anything, but I am going to walk you through exactly what the research shows, and you can decide what to do with it. Stay with me to the end, because the third option I'm going to cover is the one most men get completely wrong, and it also happens to have the strongest head-to-head evidence of the three. Let me show you what's actually happening inside your body every time you eat a carbohydrate-containing meal with zero preparation. Your digestive system breaks carbohydrates into glucose. That glucose enters your bloodstream fast. Think of it like someone opening a fire hose directly into a garden pond. Your pancreas detects the surge and starts firing insulin to manage it, like a panicked air traffic controller trying to land 200 planes at once. The insulin works eventually, but that 45 to 90-minute window of elevated glucose is where the long-term damage accumulates. A 2019 study in the Lancet Diabetes and Endocrinology tracked men with completely normal fasting glucose and found that post-meal spikes above 140 milligrams per deciliter independently predicted cardiovascular events over a 10-year follow-up. Your fasting number is the trailer. The spike is the actual movie. The goal isn't to eliminate glucose from your diet. It's to flatten the curve. And that starts before you take your first bite. Here's where it gets interesting. Option 1 is plain water, the least glamorous substance on earth. Turns out, the timing and volume of water you drink before eating changes your glycemic response in a way that's been precisely measured. Your stomach has stretch receptors that signal your intestine to slow down gastric emptying when they detect volume. Slower emptying means glucose enters your bloodstream more gradually. Think of switching your body's glucose delivery from overnight express to standard ground shipping. A 2022 study in diabetes care found that drinking 500 milliliters, about 17 ounces, of water 30 minutes before a meal reduced post-meal glucose by approximately 22% in men with insulin resistance. Not in elite athletes with perfect metabolisms, in men whose bodies were already struggling with blood sugar regulation. The mechanism is mechanical, not chemical. Volume creates friction in the system. Friction slows the spike. The key variables are amount and timing. The 30-minute window matters. Drinking water with your meal or immediately before doesn't produce the same effect. Your stomach needs time to register the volume and signal the slowdown. Set a reminder if you have to. Drink the 17 ounces. Wait, then eat. But here's the kicker. Water is the floor, not the ceiling. Option 2 is apple cider vinegar. And before you roll your eyes, understand that the mechanism here is completely different from the water effect and significantly more powerful. Acetic acid, the active compound in vinegar, inhibits an enzyme called alpha amylase. That enzyme is responsible for breaking down complex carbohydrates in your digestive tract. When you blunt alpha amylase activity, you slow the rate at which carbohydrates convert to glucose. Your bloodstream receives the same total load, but over a longer window. Think of it like changing a burst pipe into a slow drip. The total water is identical. The damage to your floors is not. A 2004 study in diabetes care, one of the most replicated findings in this space, showed that 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar consumed before a high carbohydrate meal reduced post-meal blood glucose by 34% in insulin-resistant adults and by 19% in people with type 2 diabetes. A 2021 meta-analysis in the Journal of Diabetes Research confirmed the effect across multiple trials, finding consistent reductions in both post-meal glucose and fasting insulin levels with regular pre-meal vinegar consumption. The protocol that works: 2 tablespoons diluted in a full glass of water, consumed 10 to 15 minutes before eating. Do not drink it straight. Your tooth enamel would like to remain attached to your teeth. And do not exceed 2 tablespoons. More is not better, and high doses create digestive issues that will make you deeply regret your ambition. Now, the third option, and this is the one that most men either dismiss immediately or execute completely wrong. Drop a comment right now. Where are you watching from? And what's the one thing about blood sugar you wish someone had explained to you sooner? I read these. Option 3 is a specific type of soluble fiber dissolved in water before meals. Psyllium husk is the most studied, and the mechanism here operates on a level that neither water nor vinegar touches. When psyllium husk hits water, it forms a viscous gel. When that gel reaches your small intestine, it physically lines the intestinal wall and slows glucose absorption at the cellular level. Your intestine is basically trying to absorb glucose through a layer of traffic-slowing gel. A 2020 systematic review in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition analyzed 35 randomized controlled trials and found that psyllium supplementation reduced post-meal glucose by an average of 38% and improved fasting glucose markers over periods as short as 6 weeks. In men specifically, the effect on insulin sensitivity was measurable within 8 weeks of consistent use. The execution problem is why most men fail with this. They take psyllium husk in capsule form, or they add a dry teaspoon to their food, and they get none of the gel-forming benefit. The protocol requires 1 teaspoon dissolved in a full 12 to 16 ounces of water, consumed 20 to 30 minutes before the meal, while the mixture is still liquid. If you wait too long, and it fully gels in the glass, you've essentially made yourself a fiber pudding, which technically works. But the experience is exactly as unpleasant as it sounds. Here's how you actually use all 3 of these without turning your pre-meal routine into a part-time job. Water is your daily baseline. 17 ounces, 30 minutes before every meal. Non-negotiable, 0 cost, no taste, no preparation. Add apple cider vinegar 2 to 3 times per week, specifically before your higher carbohydrate meals, the ones with rice, pasta, bread, or starchy vegetables. Use psyllium husk before your largest meal of the day or before any meal where you know you're eating off your normal routine. A work lunch, a dinner out. The situation where your blood sugar has historically done whatever it wants. Stack these correctly, and you're not just lowering a single spike. You're systematically reducing the cumulative glucose load your body processes over weeks and months. A 2018 study in Cell Metabolism showed that reducing postprandial glucose variability, not just average glucose, but the peaks and valleys, independently improved metabolic markers, body composition, and inflammatory markers in men over 45 within 12 weeks. The spikes are the variable. The drink before the meal is the lever. Your pancreas has been working harder than it should for years. Every unnecessary spike is a withdrawal from an account that doesn't refill at the same rate it did at 30. These 3 options don't require a new diet, a new gym routine, or a new identity. They require a glass of something before you sit down to eat. Start with the water, add the vinegar, graduate to the fiber, give it 8 weeks and pull your post-meal glucose numbers, then come back and tell me what changed.